Well, hello there, quilters. One of my goals for 2023 was to actually get out more because the doctor recommended one thing: get out. See the world, explore, go hiking, walk on the beach. I started out 2023 doing that, but, well, this happened. The sun is finally coming out, and so we're going to take advantage of that. But it also does one thing: it gives me less time to make videos for you guys. I kind of thought, well, can I do both of them at the same time, or is there a way I can combine it? Yes, there is. I'm taking you with me, so let's go. Now we're all set. Let's go. So I'm on my way to visit one of my favorite places here in Los Angeles, a little part of town called San Pedro. San Pedro is home to the Port of Los Angeles, where all the cruise ships dock, as well as all the shipping containers come in and out of. The town has a very art vibe and is known for its unique shops, restaurants, and art galleries. I like visiting here for inspiration, but my favorite spot is Crafted. Crafted is like an open-air market where other creators and artisans make and sell their handmade goods. I always end up finding something unique and interesting here. So if you're ever in Los Angeles and want to get away from the hustle and traffic, go down to San Pedro and check out Crafted. Quilters have got to be the most resourceful people I know on this planet. I mean, if you think about it, we're constantly using up fabric, even the little pieces. Ever heard of crumb quilting? And even with things that are not purposely meant for quilting, well, sometimes if we can use it, or if we have an idea to use it somehow in a quilt, we will use it. Sometimes I like to think, give a quilter an inch, they will run the 26 miles. Well, at least I'll try to run the 26 miles. I don't know about the rest of you. So a friend of mine once showed me, or had an idea, and she's an applique quilter, and she was fed up with spending all this money. We're trying to buy applique materials, like the fusibles, the fusible webs, the schema seam, what's the other one? I forget. Anyway, she was just trying to look for something cheap, something that she had in the house that she could use to do some basic applique work. And what she found was the use of dryer sheets, of all things. So she had that idea, she gave it a try, and then she said, "Oh, it works." So she one day mentioned it to me, and I gave it a try. Now, if you've been following the Treasure Heart Creations channel for a while, you know that the 52 weeks, 52 blocks, no, it's supposed to be the other way around. 52 blocks, 52 weeks. In one of the blocks, we did a applique where we actually used this dryer sheet technique. And the video it was okay. There wasn't a lot of people that viewed the video, maybe because applique just scared them off. When I saw the video again, I thought, oh gosh, this video is boring. I will have to admit that. Yes. We're gonna try and redo the video, but make it a little bit more interesting. So to start off part 2 of our scraps, strips, strings, and crumbs quilt along, we're gonna do an applique using this dryer sheet technique. Let's get rolling. Fresh from the laundry. Dryer sheets. You're gonna need quite a bit of them. I should note that these are used dryer sheets, which are usually crumpled up and very wrinkly. You want to get them as flat as you can. So to do this, simply spread them as flat as you can on an ironing surface. Cover them with an ironing cloth or some other fabric. Now I'm using another piece of scrap fabric, and as you will see, that scrap fabric will become my background. Simply iron the dryer sheet as flat as you can. Now ironing these dryer sheets will not only get them flat, it will get any excess chemicals out from the dryer sheet. And don't worry if you get a small tuck or pucker in the dryer sheet. In the end, it will not matter because the dryer sheet only acts as a lightweight interfacing, and we will eventually cut a hole through it. I got some crumb blocks and I got some string blocks. And we have background fabric. Choose a background fabric that won't compete with your strings or your crumbs, because if it's too busy, your design's gonna just be really muted. You want your design to kind of pop off the background color, so choose wisely. Now on one of the blocks, I'm gonna be using these string squares as a background. So I'm gonna go digging through my larger fabric scrap stash for fabrics that are gonna pop or are gonna contrast with all of that busy fabric in the background. You'll see that design come to life a little bit later. Now some other supplies you are gonna need are a piece of cardboard. Now this is just a cereal box that I just ripped in half, but you're gonna need a cardboard, or if you got plastic template, that'll do too. You're just basically gonna cut out your template design. I have it around, it's cheap, and I'm gonna throw it away anyway, so I might as well use it. Like I said, as quilters, we are very resourceful people. You're gonna need some kind of marking tool. I just got a ballpoint pen here. Now I'm gonna be doing a floral design, so I went searching around for things that are round. And I found these two dishes in my kitchen. Hey, the kitchen is a wealth of resources. Trust me. I got these two different plate sizes. I'm not sure how big or which size I specifically need, so I just grabbed both of them. I also do have one of these instrument things. What do you call this? A protractor? Protractor's the half moon thing. What are these called? Compass. I have one of these compasses in which I could use this if I really need to, but this episode is all about being resourceful, so these will do just fine. But if you have one of these, yeah, you can use it. Okay, I think that's all the supplies that we need. Let's get moving and let's get sewing. So first things first, we need to make our template with the cardboard, or if you got the template plastic, you're fancy, but I'm gonna use the cardboard. What I'm gonna do to start off is, this is a pretty big size cardboard, so I'm gonna actually cut it down to say about a 6.5. I think this is 6.5 inches. 1.5, 2.5, 3, 4, 5. No, wait, what is this? Yeah, 6.5. I don't even know the sizes of my own rulers. How sad is that? I'm gonna cut this huge piece of cardboard into a smaller square so that I can manage it a little better. And I'm gonna trim it down to a 6.5 inch size. Now this is my paper cutting rotary cutter, not the fabric rotary cutter. So please don't give me a comment in the description below saying, hey, why are you using your rotary cutter to cut paper? You're not supposed to be doing that. I know that. I have a specific rotary cutter for paper crafting, so this is it. This is the fabric rotary cutter. Pretty different. Okay, so we're gonna cut a 6.5 inch square here. And I'm cutting here. I'll cut it here. And we're gonna line it up on this side. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be a general size, because we're gonna trim this down to a specific shape anyway. So So I got a 6.5-inch cardboard square. I want to do sort of like an oval shape here that goes all the way out to the edge. And yeah, that's not going to cut it. So let's do this. I got the bigger plate here. That'll work. That is one lopsided petal. Oh well, nature's not perfect. So here's my template, and as you saw, I used a combination of both of these plates. The smaller one went for the top to get the top curve. The larger one went for these outer edge curves here. Now, let's cut this template out. I'm gonna go rogue with this paper cutter. So one tip I can give you about using a rotary cutter and cutting curves is this. There's a natural tendency to want to go like that with the rotary cutter. Instead, do this. I'm going to be pushing the rotary cutter in a straight direction. I'm going to be rotating the cardboard to get the curve shape. So watch how this works. And I'm going to start here. I'm just pushing forward with the rotary cutter, and I'm turning the cardboard instead. Okay, so again, I'm just gonna push the rotary cutter straight, but I'm gonna turn the cardboard so that to get that curve look. Wait a minute, something's not right. Oh, I'm not thinking straight today. Well, I never think straight anyway. I should have cut this at 4.5 because these crumb blocks are 4.5 inches. But you know what? I think I can salvage this still. I'm gonna get the corners cut off a little bit, but it's doable. So let's cut a 4.5-inch square. Sometimes you just feel like a nut. Well, what do you know? I got that in one cut. Now I do see one other thing. We're going to be tracing this shape onto the fabric, the right side of the fabric, believe it or not. You see, like at certain spots, it's really kind of close to the edge. So I'm going to just kind of freehand draw it and make it so that it's just a little bit inside of that edge, just to kind of trim it down a little bit. Again, this does not have to be perfect. Nothing in nature really is perfect, by the way. You can just freehand it, it'll be fine. And I'm just pushing the rotary cutter straight forward and rotating the cardboard instead. Not bad. There's my petal. So now that we have our template, let's start tracing our petals out and let's start sewing our petals. To start, I trace the template shape to the right side of the crumb squares or the fabric. Now don't worry about the fact that you are marking the right side of the fabric, because in the end, the markings will not be noticeable. But if you are really worried about your markings showing on the final quilt, then you can mark the dryer sheet instead. However, just know that some dryer sheets are rather difficult to mark and are sometimes fragile and may rip while you mark them. With the right side of the fabrics or the crumb square facing up, place a dryer sheet on the top. Then take it to your sewing machine and sew on the line that you marked. Cut the excess material off. Be sure to leave a seam allowance of about 1/4 inch. From the center of the petal, pull the dryer sheet and fabric or crumb square away from each other to separate each layer. Then, with the scissors, cut a slit in the dryer sheet about 1 to 2 inches or large enough to turn the unit right side out. Using a turning tool, help to push and smooth out the edges. Then iron the applique piece to make it flat. So let's take a look at our applique pieces now that I got them sewn and turned right side out. So one thing to note about these applique pieces is they don't have to be 100% accurate. I mean, if you take a look at these, some of them are really curved and some of them, well, I didn't do so much of a good job on the curve. But as long as they have the idea of the shape, I mean, you'll be all right. So don't stress out about, oh, I didn't sew the shape so perfectly. Oh my gosh, it's going to be the end of the block. No, as long as you got the general shape of the block or the general shape of the design, it's going to be okay. Now, I did sew this circle to go in as the center of the flower shape. So what it will generally look like is something like that. Okay, so now let's prepare our background. So of the background fabric, I cut a 13-inch square, or at least I think it's a 13-inch square. Now, I am planning to do a 12.5-inch block. And when it comes to the background, a lot of times when you do applique, the background goes, I mean, for some reason it shrinks inward because you're stitching all of these applique pieces down. So it's generally a good idea to cut the background a little bit bigger, maybe about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch bigger than the size of the block that you want. To lay out all the applique pieces, I want to find the center, so I'm going to fold it in half and kind of finger press it. Then I'm going to fold it in half the other way and kind of finger press that so I can kind of get a general sense of where the center is. And well, maybe you can't see it in the camera, but I do see that it's right there. It also divides the background into the 4 quadrants, so you can kind of place your petals in that manner. Now, these petals are a little bit oversized, so even if I go put this point right on the center, I'm not going to get all 6 of them in, and I do want to get all 6 petals. So I'm going to spread about a little bit. Now, I think that looks good. I'm happy with that. Okay, so now we're going to pin each of these applique pieces down, and we're going to start stitching them down onto the background fabric. So for the time being, I'm going to remove the center for a second, and I'm going to grab some pins here, and just to hold it in place while I sew it, I'm going to just put a pin on each of these petals just to secure it. So now let's start sewing these applique pieces down. Here at the sewing machine here, I'm gonna start, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw up the bobbin thread. Now I'm gonna put the needle down as close to the edge as I can go, or as close as comfortably I can go. And I'm drawing up the bobbin thread here. There it is, and I'm gonna pull out the bobbin thread for a second. Got the bobbin thread. Okay, gonna put the needle down right as close to the edge as I possibly can. Now, this machine here is only a straight stitch only machine, so I can't do any of the applique or some of those decorative stitches. If you prefer to, or if you do have the ability to do other types of stitches, you might want to consider doing an applique stitch or some kind of a zigzag right over the edge. But since this machine is a straight stitch only, I'm going to stitch as close as I can to the edge of the applique piece just to hold it down. But again, if you have one of those machines that has one of those 1,000 stitches and you can do a zigzag or an applique stitch, you can do so. And so I'm just gonna take it slow. Or try to take it slow, speeding up. I'm gonna use my knee lift on the machine, or I can just manually lift up the presser foot. Okay, needle down, and I'm gonna pivot and just keep going. Whoa, slow down. There. Now, I don't have to be exactly right on the edge, as long as I'm within the general vicinity, but you also don't want to be too far in. So maybe about a 1/16 of an inch from the edge is good. And then when you feel like the edge, or as you come to those curves, if you feel like it's getting away from you, just stop with your needle down. Lift it up, pivot, and keep sewing. Okay, so here we are at the start. I'm going to overlap it a little bit. Take off my pin and pull it out, and I'm gonna try and leave a very long thread tail, so I'm gonna cut it up here, flip it over, cut it, and we will repeat the process. Uh-oh. I got a little boo-boo. But you know what? You really can't tell it's there. So I think I'm just gonna leave it. Let's have a look. So here's the block with all the applique pieces stitched down. Now, can you find the error that I'm talking about? Well, if you don't see it, it's actually right here. There's a little bit of a pucker. You mother pucker. But you know what? In the overall scheme of things, and in the larger sense, the quilt itself, you're really not going to notice that. So I'm just going to leave it. But if it were to bother me, I would kind of rip the stitches out and flatten it out a little bit. But I think I can quilt that out. So no problem with that. This is my flower applique block with the crumb squares that I used. And I got one more version to do with the string blocks, but with the string blocks, I'm gonna use the strings as the background, and I'm gonna pull out some fabrics from my larger scrap stash, and we'll make the applique pieces. Now we're gonna do it a little bit differently because I do have this to use. Now this is the small orange peel template by Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I'm gonna use this as my sort of design template for the applique pieces. So let's get to that. Oh, wait, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I know you're here somewhere. You know, if it's not Jack, it's something else. Reminiscent of episode 1 of the THC 5252 series. Oh, brother. Where are you? Found it. You know, I just realized that I got two of these things. I don't know what happened. Oh, well, I think one of them I got for free. So thank you, Missouri Star. So by some odd reason, I got two of these templates here. These are the small orange peel templates by Missouri Star Quilt Company. Well, I don't need two of them, so I'm going to give one away. So this is going to be part of the giveaway for the month of May. So we'll give away this, and this is what I was looking for. This is the Lori Holt Seems So Easy. Now, in all of my videos, or in most of my videos, you might notice that I actually have this on the machine here. It's a seam guide, basically, and it's a cute seam guide because it's a flower. And so I like this particular seam guide because, well, you do have the 3 lines. And if you know about diagonal seam tape, those 3 lines that go right there, it basically does the same thing as the diagonal seam tape. Now, you also do have a grid on the flower design here. And that grid is actually very helpful to line up larger pieces, or if you got larger seam allowances that you want to do. Yeah, that grid really does come in hand. And it's template plastic, so you can put it down, remove it, put it down again, and keep removing it, and it lasts pretty long. So that's the giveaway for the month of May. You'll get this Lori Holt Seam So Easy seam guide, and you'll get this Missouri Star orange peel template. Now, to enter the giveaway, well, you know the drill. First, you got to be a member of the Treasure Heart Creations Facebook group. Link is in the description below. Let's get you signed up. Second, you have to post a picture of the blocks that you made. Now, you don't necessarily have to do the same exact block that I'm making. Just the idea of an applique using crumbs or strings or your scraps, that's good enough. So if you don't have the orange peel template, or if you don't want to make a flower, but you want to do something else, I say go ahead and go for broke and go for it. Maybe you want to do a butterfly. Maybe you just want to do a circle applique. The design choice is up to you. Just use up your scraps, use up your crumbs, your strings, whatever you got. Make an applique block. Post a picture to the Treasure Heart Creations Facebook group of the block that you created. Use the hashtag THCS3C. All posts must be received by June 3rd, 2023. Then on June 4th, we will announce the winner. So good luck. Okay, I have to ask this question because I know there are some quilters out there that totally despise this. And there are other quilters that love it, and there are the quilters that are in between somewhere. I am on the love it category. What do you really think about applique quilting? Do you love it? Do you despise it, or are you somewhere in between? I know this is a very odd question to be asking, especially because we already started the video and we already made one block. Well, I've seen some online community forums, and some people love it, some people hate it. Some people hate it with a passion. Some people love it with a passion. You know, I don't mind applique. I mean, it's not the hardest technique in the world. And for me, applique was sort of a gateway to art quilting. I can certainly appreciate the techniques or the time that it takes to make an applique quilt, and quite frankly, they're just stunning. But I know for some quilters, for whatever reason, they just despise it. Like, ooh, applique, ooh, ooh, ooh. Rest assured, I am not one of those quilters. I am the one, applique? Oh, I love you. What's really weird is I'm not really sure why some of these quilters don't like applique work. I mean, to me, when I see a really well done applique quilt, it's a piece of art. Some of the best quilts and most beautiful quilts that I've seen, well, in my opinion, they were applique quilts. One of my favorite applique artists or quilt artists, Danny Amazonas. My gosh, I remember going to Houston One year in 2017, and he had this humongous applique quilt of this scene in a coral reef, and the centerpiece was this giant turtle. Like, it literally looked like the turtle was swimming through all the fish. So beautiful. If you've seen the quilt, you know which one I'm talking about. But when I think about it, his technique is more like collage quilts. Collage quilts are kind of offshoot of applique quilting. At least that's what I think. Quilting police, don't judge me if I got that wrong. Where are you on the spectrum? I mean, are you one of those quilters that just can't stand applique? Or maybe you're a quilter that loves to do it. Or maybe you're a beginning quilter and you have absolutely no idea what exactly I am even talking about. That's okay. That's why you're here, to learn, right? Now, if you are one of those quilters that do not like applique, or maybe you don't like to do it, but maybe you appreciate it, here's a question that I have for you then. What exactly about applique quilting do you not like? Is it the time commitment? Is it the technique itself? Put a comment down below. I'm really curious why some people just don't like applique. Let's get back to sewing these blocks and let's get these blocks done. Oh my God. You know, sitting in the chair for long periods of time, not good for you, so time to stretch a little bit. Oh, that felt good. I'm okay. And here are my two applique blocks using this dryer sheet technique. I'm going to square these blocks down to 12.5 inches, and I'm kind of happy with how both of these came out. Play around with the background texture. In this one I used the string blocks, and this one I used the crumb pieces as the applique pieces, but the background was just a solid or a solid reading color. Make sure that your applique pieces stand out from the rest of the background, otherwise it just does not work. Overall, I like this technique, so give it a try. Let me know what you think. I'm exhausted right now. It's been a long day, but I hope you enjoyed our adventure, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget that we do have the giveaway, so let's get cracking and start making your blocks. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you like what I do here, well, consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to join the Treasure Heart Creations Facebook group. Link is in the description below, and I can't wait to see what you guys create. Hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to go out and create something. Bye for now.